Yesterday it was about a high of 88. It felt like literally heaven. I spent 2 hours in the garden laying seeds. There was a nice breeze. It was nice and dry. There was no humidity. I was like, oh my gosh, is it fall? Dare I say? But the reality of the situation is that there is an impending hurricane that's expected to hit us on Thursday or Friday. That's probably the reason for the kind of like drop in weather, temperatures and everything. But whatever the reason is, I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. My name is Shelby. On my channel, we do gardening videos, homesteading videos, farm-to-table recipes, DIY videos, lots of different stuff to help show you my journey on becoming more sustainable and living a more holistic lifestyle, which I hope also helps you. With that said, let's get started. Before we get this whole garden tour going, I want to apologize ahead of time. If you hear me like out of breath and everything, I'm currently 16 weeks pregnant, so that whole like kind of out of breath thing, that's a real thing. If you hear a woman talk about that, I don't know why, but it's probably like the humidity and everything out here too, making it a little bit harder. So I apologize ahead of time. Florida's fall is a little bit different than everybody else's fall. Our first frost date, it's not for a few months where a lot of other people, their first frost date is in October, for example. The change in temperature where we can grow more things that are usually really susceptible to heat is just now starting for us. I'm sitting here next to my strawberry bed, which I had changed from one of my front beds over there. Don't ask me why I changed it, because they were actually really happy and doing well there. What I wanted to talk about with the strawberries is, depending on where you live, right now for me at least, it's like strawberry cloning season. You'll see lots of different runners coming from your strawberry plants, which means that these are all new plants. Definitely take advantage of when you're seeing these runners appear, because that means that you can, you know, make your one plant turn into many different plants. It's super easy to take advantage of these little runners, help them become plants. I actually made a video about this. It was one of my first videos. It's a little cringe because it was one of my first videos, but I'll include it if you want. All of these plants from in my green stock and in this bed started out from one plant. That was just from 1 year of cloning the strawberries. I'm hoping that we have some success with beets, because I have not had good success with beets since basically this whole year. And what I've done to try to change that, better my odds, is I've changed the water system so that these beds are more saturated. They were definitely not getting enough water and too much direct sun and too much heat. The beets didn't like it, and I'm hoping that we'll have more success with beets because I love beets. I'm growing the Detroit dark red beet. I just sowed the seeds yesterday. I'm planning on giving you guys frequent updates, so hopefully in the next video we'll see some sprouts. So this is my old strawberry bed, which has always had oregano in it. I've had these oregano plants that are just like going crazy, and I just kind of leave them alone, let them do what they want. I have my sugar pie pumpkins growing up the side for the cattle panel trellis, and I also have these yellow squash that are growing. My two middle beds are my designated flower beds. That's because I want the flowers to be able to reseed themselves and come back seasonally when they want to. They've already started to reseed themselves with zinnias and with sunflowers. To be honest, I have attempted to grow these sugar pie pumpkins a few times already. Probably tried in July. But anyways, I planted these a few weeks ago, and now they're actually working. You just have to hit the season right with pumpkins in Florida. This side of the cattle panel trellis, which is trellising from the bed up, is doing super well. What I have in the back is the dwarf sugar peas. I'm hoping that they will trellis up, maximize the space in the bed. I always try to have the trellising things towards the very back and then utilize the rest of the bed. So I have dill on the very side growing for our pollinators, and also just so that we can start to harvest that herb and dry it and have it fresh from our garden organically. The main part of the bed is going to be filled with French radishes. These are supposed to only take about 30 days, so hopefully we'll have a harvest coming up here pretty soon. Behind me is what I refer to as our heart bed, because it's the biggest bed of the whole garden, and I've just always referred to it as that. So in our heart bed, we're growing broccoli and cauliflower, attempting to grow broccoli and cauliflower. Please germinate and grow into plants. I've tried this already a few weeks ago and it was way too hot. The temperatures were still like over 100 degrees type of situation, and they just weren't having it. We're gonna kind of see if this was a good idea or a bad idea to plant all of these seeds like basically 4 days before a hurricane. I'll keep you guys updated, of course. I actually have some zucchini flowers growing. These are actually gray zucchini. They're a smaller variety. They're supposed to be only a 45-day, basically like from seed to harvest. But I was super excited to see these, you know, all the little yellow flowers and the bees pollinating them, just because I know, hey, this plant's actually working. Maybe we're gonna have a chance over here. Behind me I have our kale. The seed packet doesn't look like what this variety of kale is. The seed packet looks like your standard like super curly leaf kale. This looks kind of like your more, I don't know what kind of kale it is. I mean, whatever it is, I'll take it. Any type of greens are good greens, and I usually just kind of like put them in soups and things like that. Behind me I have my basil, just like the sweet Italian basil. I actually also have a gigantic basil plant over on the other side of the garden as well. It's never a bad thing to have an abundance of basil in your garden. There's nothing like just going out into the garden when you're making some type of a dish and just coming back in and having like that fresh aroma of basil. That's why basil is like always a staple for me. In the middle, I'm growing cilantro. Cilantro has so many good health benefits as well to it. But the thing about cilantro is that you have to stay on top of growing it because it'll go to seed. So basically you kind of have to plant a little bit and then wait a few weeks, plant a little bit more. This is my eggplant bed. They have taken up this whole bed, which like a 4x4 bed is really perfect for about 4 different eggplant plants. I can't even keep up with them. I would definitely recommend starting your eggplants in the spring, depending on the zone that you're in, because you're going to be able to use that plant for many months once they start to produce. Behind me are my cantaloupes. I have a few growing on the other side of the cattle panel trellis too, so this side is doing a lot better than the other one, which, you know, whatever, I'll take whatever I can get. But these are definitely being attacked by bugs. They're gonna need a lot of care to be successful. So I'm gonna have to start applying neem oil, which is kind of like our organic pest control, which is really effective. You just have to stay on top of it and just manually removing the pest. And I want the plant to focus on growing so that I don't continue to have a bunch of naked cattle panel trellises. So behind me are my Muncher variety cucumbers. It's a little bit hard to see, but the plants on both sides are doing really well. They look healthy, dark green, not attacked by any type of pest yet or anything like that. It's a little snacking variety cucumber. They're just now starting to use their little feelers to climb up the trellises. In the middle part of the bed that has the cantaloupes on one side and the cucumbers on the other side, I'm planting golden wax bush beans and the purple burgundy beans to just cover the whole middle part. So that's what I'm doing. I just planted those seeds and I know that those should do pretty well. I'm doing like a full bed of lima bush beans. I think these are the Henderson heirloom variety from Baker Creek. Last time I tried to plant them, I think I tried in June. So it just didn't really work out. So let's see if they'll work. Behind me are, I believe, the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. They're doing good. I'm seeing lots of male flowers growing, which hopefully will have some female flowers short to come as well. I'm gonna have these plants kind of trellising over and just growing out of the bed and just using basically the bed as like a soil kind of area. On the other side of the kale bed, I have like a whole, I planted tons and tons of Swiss chard. I have been attempting to grow Swiss chard since spring, which is so weird for me because usually I have no problem growing Swiss chard. I'm giving it another shot. I want like an abundance of this specific vegetable. What do I have to do? That's why I'm attempting again. Hopefully in the next video update we'll have sprouts, and then I can do a little like victory dance. I planted a bunch of Swiss chard right here. It's like a colorful variety from Baker Creek. Okay guys, that is pretty much it for everything that's growing and all of the seeds that I have planted. I actually have more beds that need to be de-weeded and seeds sown in it, so I've got a lot more work that needs to be done, which is okay. It's the kind of work I like to do. I will definitely keep you guys updated on, you know, what goes on with the hurricane. Does everything look the same afterwards? I'll definitely post an update video on that. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like. Again, my name is Shelby, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.